Pedro Espindola, Leo Melgar, Alfonso Pinheiro, and Bernardo Matos are all from the same city in Brazil, and together they're in Albany for two reasons: to get an education and to lead the Great Danes to the program's first ever America East title. And perhaps this is the year. UAlbany narrowly lost to 22nd ranked Syracuse last night. Saturday they returned to conference play at UMBC, but this morning they sat still just long enough to share with us their journey from Sao Paulo to Western Avenue. And from Bob Ford Field, I'm joined by the Sao Paulo Four. First of all, guys, who was the first to make the commitment to come here?
Me and Leo.
Me and Bernardo, we actually got here at 2013. Coach Dad was in a camp down in Brazil for June, July, and he saw both of us playing. And after that, we started talking to Coach, and we got here.
And then, when did you guys follow suit?
The year after that they got here, I was actually playing for another school, D2 school, Franklin Pierce University. And since I grew up with Leo, he contacted me and was like, hey, I have an opportunity for you to come here. And I came by to visit, and I really liked the place. I like what they were about to do, and I decided to come.
You just didn't want to be left out then, huh?
Yeah, for me, I was playing clubs in Brazil, and I had my highlight video, and Bernie asked me, would you mind if I show that to my coach? And that was when everything started to happen, and I started to talk to him, and I realized that I really wanted to come here and maybe start studying at Albany and playing soccer here.
And it isn't just the fact that the four of you are from Brazil, or from a big city in Brazil, but you all more or less grew up basically in the same neighborhood or very close to each other. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. That all the quads here at Albany were really close to each other.
Wow. What's soccer like back in Sao Paulo in your neighborhood?
It's really different from here.
Yeah, how so?
Yeah. Here's way more of a physical way to play, like a lot of running, like strong kids.
Yeah.
Where in Brazil, we have more like skillful, technique kids, and it's been a big adjustment for all of us. I can speak for all of us because we talk about it and
Right.
how it was.
Yeah.
But I think everything is going to the right direction for all of us now, and we should be good.
What was the biggest adjustment, getting used to the American style of soccer?
I think the fitness level was a
Uh-huh.
big part of it, because at the end of the day, we all know how to play soccer. Soccer is soccer everywhere in the world, but here, everybody's just so fit and so strong that it was really hard for us in the beginning to be at the same level.
And obviously in this country, a lot of kids grow up and they're playing basketball, and they're playing baseball, and they're playing American football. I'm guessing back in Sao Paulo, it's not like that, right?
No, not really.
Everyone plays the same sports. Everyone plays soccer.
In Brazil, we play soccer 90% of the time, and the other 10% of the time is the other sports.
Yeah.
Volleyball is pretty big too, but all we play is soccer all day.
Yeah, usually compared to them, because all the time we're in the streets and we see houses in United States with basketball courts in the backyard or kind of stuff like that. And in Brazil, it's more like every house they have somewhere a little goal, even use your flip-flops to play soccer, but everybody's only playing soccer. It's more like a religion, I would say.
Yeah, so every day in the backyard, or maybe in the streets, unstructured,
Everywhere.
but just playing, is that right?
Yeah.
Every time we have to, we can't play soccer, we are playing soccer. That's what Brazilians love to do.
We always find a way to play soccer.
Did the four of you, maybe at what age did you decide that if you would be good enough, you wanted to go to the United States to play soccer at some point?
I decided to come here 2012, a year before. I
Okay,
actually
so it
came
wasn't
here.
until, obviously you were well into your teenage years at that point. Did any of you decide when you were really young, I'd like to
I feel
play
like
in the States?
everybody here, we all wanted to go pro in Brazil, but in Brazil, everybody wants to go pro.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. And at some point, we knew that we could come here, study, and have a degree after 4 years and still play at a good level. So what we're trying to do is get a degree, and maybe after these 4 years we go pro. We all have the same goal.
So are there some players, maybe the same skill level the four of you are at, that try and go pro right away? Maybe they make it, maybe they don't, but then don't have a degree to fall back on if it doesn't work out?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I've been playing my whole life, and I know so many good players that didn't have a chance, and now they're having to work, but they don't have a degree, because in Brazil you cannot study and play soccer at this level, so you have to choose between either playing soccer or studying. So here we decided that we could have both and still chase the dream to become a professional professional player maybe 4 years later.
What have you seen happens to those players that chase that pro dream without the education and it doesn't work out? What do they end up doing?
It's different for a lot of them. Like some of them, they made the pros. They're playing now. They're in such a big level, and we look at them, we talk to each other, and be like, oh, it could be us.
We played with them.
At the same time, we have like friends that used to play with us, and now they already have kids with 20 years old. They're 20 years old, already have kids, and they don't have like a good job, don't have a degree. So what are they gonna do?
Yeah, and I feel like that's the most part. Like we can count on our fingers how many players now are in a good level playing Brazil that we look and I wanted to be there, but I feel like for the most part, if it doesn't work out, you don't have much to do.
Yeah. Have you guys? I know many of you were friends before you got here, but the four of you, do you spend a lot of time together away from the soccer field as well?
Here?
Yeah, we do.
All the time.
All the time?
We live together, and
it's a way that we feel home, Like, we grew up together, they grew up together, and then we got here. It's just like it's the four of us.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
What do you like to do when you're not playing soccer? I know soccer's probably 90% of what you're doing, but when you're not playing soccer, when you're not studying.
like after practice, we hang out in the locker room for like so long, for like hours, just talking about.
Girls.
People ask us if we leave in the locker room because every time we take so long to leave the locker room after practice.
We
just we like talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Watch a lot of soccer?
Yeah.
More from back home than Americans. They usually watch the EPL and not us. Like we like to follow the Brazilian league, and we pretty much talk about soccer like all the time.
You guys all like the same team back in Brazil?
No. Me, Lee, and Fonzie, we like the same team, São Paulo, and Pedro.
Corinthians?
Yeah.
Okay, I guessed it.
Oh yeah, good job.
Good guess.
What besides soccer? Because we talked about the differences in the style of soccer, but besides that, what are some of the customs, maybe in the United States, that's different than how things are done in Brazil that surprised you the most?
Good question.
I'll say the weather is pretty different.
The food?
Yeah.
The food is different too. We miss a lot like Brazilian food.
Yeah.
Especially because I have to cook now, so I'm so lazy.
Yeah.
Cook have really good food.
Education.
Yeah.
Education's different.
I feel like in the United States everything works out pretty well. In Brazil sometimes they slack like in education. Other times like what can I say? You guys can help me out on this one.
Yeah.
It's just like everything works here. You go like to the mall, it works. You go to classes, everything's perfect. Like you don't see a lot of problems happening here. Like huge lines, people complaining about like, oh, this doesn't happen. I'm trying to do this and I can't. Like I feel like here it's very organized.
And I feel like the public system too, like public schools here in the United States, they're really good. And in Brazil,
Not
if
so
you
much.
go to public school, it's not considered good enough. You cannot have go to a public high school. It's so hard to go from a public high school to a college, to a good college.
Really? Yeah.
So here, you see so many good public high schools. My brother is now living in Florida, and he's studying at a public high school, which is really good, and he still have chances to go to a good college studying. And that's I feel like it's a big difference for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you all grow up learning English, speaking English?
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
Like you
basic
take
classes.
English classes in like elementary school and middle school,
Yeah.
but it's not really like intense.
Okay.
So that will only take you so far. So if you want to come here and you want to be fluent, you got to take like private English lessons as like an English school or an English professor.
So when the four of you are just hanging out in the locker room or wherever, you speaking English or you speaking Portuguese?
It depends. If we have like teammates around, we speak English because it's kind of rude if we don't.
Yeah.
But if it's only the four of us, we only speak Portuguese.
Yeah. We try to speak English, but it's hard for us.
Yeah. Sometimes they yell at us, like, "Hey, English!" I was like, "Oh."
Sometimes we just like, it's just weird speaking English with them,
Yeah.
Because imagine you grew up I know Bernie since I'm 9 years old, and now we've been only speaking Portuguese this whole time, and now we get here and now we have to speak English to each other. It's just like, what? It's
Sometimes we just react in Portuguese. It's weird.
This team has obviously come a very long way since the four of you have been a part of it, and just last night you had the number 22 team in the country on the ropes. What do you see as the future for this team?
We're trying to achieve big things, trying to change the story of the program, trying to get American East and be the first team that ever won the American East for UAlbany. and that's our main goal right now, and I think we're ready for it.
All right. Well, best of luck, guys. I know we talked about the technical skill that the Brazilians can bring to this game, so let's see what you've got. Let's do a little juggling competition. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
So the original idea was to have the four of them juggle, and we'd see who could keep the ball in the air the longest. The problem is they've got class at 11:30, which is 2 hours from now, and they might still be juggling at 11:30. So we've got a different strategy. We're going to play teammates, 2 against 2. They're going to head the ball back and forth. Whichever tandem can keep the ball in the air the longest using just their heads will be the winner. Sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, head on over and let's do it. Set, go.
No, that's not fair. Hey, we have a winner.
Not really.
Pra cima, pra cima. Pra cima.
So tired.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Coach expects us to do, and